A strong, confident woman might not need a man, but she can certainly use one to her advantage. An unusual romance ends a marriage and a life.
It just made her feel young again.
Please hurry.
A serial bigamist wants one less husband.
They hunted him down like an animal.
Go, go!
And a mistress must win at any cost.
She was really angry.
These deadly women don't work alone. For them, it takes two to tangle. Youngstown, Ohio.
Is there another bus coming through soon?
Should be in soon.
Everyone thinks bus terminal operators Robert Fingerhut and Donna Roberts are happily married. But they've got a secret. They've been divorced for decades.
Approximately 2 years or so after my mother and Robert were married, he had some serious back taxes. I mean, thousands that he owed the IRS.
That'll be $90. Thank you.
And so they got divorced so that their joint assets and home and other things wouldn't be compromised.
So can I get one returned Miami?
Oh, lucky you.
But they still lived together as husband and wife. So everyone in the neighborhood, their neighbors, people that knew them, felt that they were married.
You are never home.
With all their assets in Donna's name, they dodge the tax man and build up a lucrative business.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
You got a good man, then.
The money's coming in and things are looking pretty good.
There you are. You have a nice day.
Until Donna has a brush with death.
She was on a medication at the time, and she doesn't remember much other than blacking out. She was banged up pretty bad. She had 2 or 3 different concussions in her skull. After that event, she became a different person.
It changes her personality.
She started smoking cigarettes and marijuana, which she had been very much against. She was doing things that were not characteristic at all.
She had untreated post-traumatic stress disorder. It can bring about serious psychiatric symptoms.
What are you doing?
Enjoying myself.
But you hate cigarettes. Are you coming to work?
She looks for ways to numb her emotional pain.
Donna also became obsessed with sex after the accident.
Are you okay?
This sounds crazy, even silly, but in fact, it's not unusual. The obsession with sex after an accident is because of extreme stress. Sexual activity momentarily relieves emotional pain.
I'm sorry. I have to go.
Donna's new habits and mood swings drive a wedge between her and Robert.
Their relationship definitely went downhill, and it was a very empty relationship at that point.
So middle-class, middle-aged Donna starts making new and unlikely friends.
Donna met a man half her age and someone with whom she had nothing in common.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Sit down.
29-year-old Nate Jackson can provide the distraction Donna has been looking for.
Nate was the opposite of Robert in every way.
Now you have something I want.
Yeah.
She saw youth. He was charming, polite, very nice. It was something that she embraced.
But it's not just a chemical high Donna's after.
There's plenty of time for that.
I think by her having this young man interested in her, it just made her feel young again. It made her feel invigorated and maybe a rebirth to some degree.
She's not the only one drawn in. Nate falls fast for Donna.
She seemed successful, she had money, she was exciting, and all those things were missing from his life.
That was the most fun I've had in years.
Yeah, that was good for me too.
He felt that Donna was somebody that was going to help support him, take care of him, and she told him that.
I don't have fun anymore at home.
And with a new man on the scene, Donna's frustration with her husband grows stronger.
Robert's a bore.
She worked up a good hate for the man. She shared these feelings with Nate all the time, and it wasn't long before Nate hated him as well.
Why don't you just leave him?
That'd be too easy.
Youngstown, Ohio, 2001. Since her brush with death, 57-year-old Donna Roberts hasn't been herself. She's been running around behind her husband's back with a much younger man, 29-year-old Nate Jackson.
It's really hard to comprehend sometimes that they paired up together somehow.
So, what do we got?
28 years her junior, Nate's also a small-time crook.
How much?
Nate had a history of drug abuse. He was shot 3 or 4 times during his young life, and he just didn't ever seem to have a very good family structure or a lot of support.
But Donna sees a future with him. That is, until the law steps in.
He had to serve a year in prison for receiving stolen property charge.
Get off me, man! Get off me!
Torn apart, the couple's bond grows stronger. They fantasize about a life together.
They wrote to each other like a soldier at war and his bride left behind.
There's just one thing standing in their way. Donna's husband, Robert.
She planted a seed that Robert wasn't good to her and he wasn't letting her have access to any money, and eventually brought up life would be better without him.
And then Nate comes back in with his notes saying he can handle things and take care of her.
When Nate gets out, his lover is waiting.
The very first night Nate was released from jail, they spent together in a hotel room. Their life together was about to begin.
Together at last, they finalize their plan. Kidnap, then kill Robert.
They were to lure him into the car with the handcuffs and then take him somewhere where he would be shot.
On December 11th, 2001, just 2 days after Nate's release, they make their move.
Donna let Nate into the house to lie in wait for her husband while she went off to do some shopping.
Be careful. I will, baby, don't worry.
Donna's a manipulator. She didn't have the guts to do it herself. Robert drove his car in and thought he was at home. His guard was down and he was relaxed.
Freeze, man! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
But Robert is no pushover. He puts up an unexpected struggle. So Nate turns to Plan B.
Nate decides that he's got to use the firearm.
Nate didn't want to take any chances. And he shot Robert 3 times.
Nothing has gone to plan, so Nate has to improvise. He steals Robert's car.
To perhaps make this look like a robbery gone wrong.
Which leaves Donna to clean up the mess.
Now that the plan has changed and Robert has not been killed off-site, she goes home and she calls 911 and puts on the performance of her life.
Oh, Robert!
But Donna's acting leaves her audience cold.
Donna appeared to be hysterical to the detectives, but they were looking closely. They saw the hysterics. They didn't see the tears because there weren't any.
She's not just an unconvincing actor. She's left a trail of evidence all over the house.
Investigators uncover a treasure trove of letters that are from Nate to Donna. 140 of them. And in those letters, it's very clear to see that there was a plan being hatched between the two of them.
Donna kept the letters Nate sent to her, and he kept the ones she sent to him. They didn't get rid of the evidence.
And once police locate Robert's stolen car, the game is over.
Robert's car was found in Youngstown by Nate's home.
Nate doesn't realize that he's inadvertently left both his blood mixed with Robert's on the visor.
Nate Jackson is found guilty of aggravated murder, burglary, and robbery. He is sentenced to death. But he never turns on Donna.
Nate says she had nothing to do with it, that it was all my doing, that I love her, and that there's no complicity here at all.
It makes no difference. In 2003, a jury finds Donna Roberts guilty of complicity to aggravated murder, burglary, and robbery. She is also sentenced to death.
The businesses were in her name. The house was in her name. She could have just walked away. She could have upped and moved away one day and went to Montana or something and had everything. But that's not what she did.
Donna leaves a trail of sadness and confusion in her wake for no one more than her son, Michael.
And that's always stuck out of my mind over the years that, you know, what if she would have just walked away?
Before saying I do,
Yes!
it's best to check if your wife already has.
Shonda went through men like a 6-year-old goes through Disneyland.
In the small town of Jasper, Alabama, 25-year-old Shonda Johnson is the life of every party.
Shonda Johnson, what a woman.
So which one do you want? Crazy one, all right. Crazy one.
Her bold attitude and fun-loving nature mean she's never alone for long.
You are way too cute to be on your own.
There was something about Shonda that exuded a sense of sensuality, and men were just drawn to her.
Men like 28-year-old Randy McCuller.
Randy was a very devout Christian. He was a machinist by trade, a very, very good guy.
Shonda?
In 1995,
Will you be my wife?
just a few months after meeting,
Yes! Yes, of course I will.
the couple get engaged.
He thought she was the girl God sent to him. He couldn't wait to marry her.
Do you see what that is? That's a wedding ring.
And Randy wants to be a father to Shonda's 6-year-old son.
Okay, we gotta celebrate.
There's just one small problem.
Shonda?
When Shonda and Randy became engaged,
Randy, there's something good to tell you.
Shonda was actually still married.
I didn't know how to tell you.
But she's not married to her first husband. Shonda has a second.
And that marriage only lasted 5 months.
I love you so much. You'll never lose me.
Randy still signs up as husband number 3. But it's a short honeymoon.
Things started to go downhill fast.
Shonda wanted to be married, but she didn't really want to be a good wife.
All right, grab your plate. Let's go.
While he was out there working every day, she was hanging out with her friends.
Shonda had no trouble attracting men, but keeping them, that was a different story.
Where you been?
Oh, girls, what do you care?
What do I care? What about me, Shonda? What about your son?
Listen here. I do what I like.
Even though Shonda and Randy had only been married for approximately 2 months,
You can't just do what you like.
they separated.
But Shonda has one more secret. She's pregnant with Randy's child. And wastes no time looking for a new daddy.
Here. You shouldn't be doing this.
Shonda was very insecure and had to have a man in her life.
I'm William, by the way.
Shonda.
Every time that Shonda reeled in a new man, she felt like it validated her.
What'd you like me to do with this?
Just out in the hall would be great.
William McIntyre falls for her and becomes husband number 4.
One thing the other man didn't know is that she was still married to Randy, too.
I don't think it mattered to Shonda one single bit that she was breaking the law and committing bigamy.
But a year later, Shonda's single again.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that again?
And pregnant again to yet another man.
I love when you do that.
She just walked out on him and into the arms of another man. She knew which men were vulnerable to her persuasion.
Everybody's doing it.
And she zoned in on them like a fish on bait.
Y'all pretty fit for a pregnant gal.
Well, I have to be. There's no one around for her to look after.
Shonda hooks 27-year-old Tim Richards.
I'll look after y'all.
Tim patted her stomach and said, "I'll take care of this." At that moment, Shonda knew she had a live one.
He has no idea she's still married to husbands 3 and 4.
Shonda went through men like a 6-year-old goes through Disneyland.
By the time Shonda was 28 years old, she had been married 5 times, including being married to 3 men at the same time.
Thank you for taking care of us.
Gotta look after my own.
Finally, Shonda finds her perfect man, who doesn't clip her wings.
Would you mind looking after the kids tonight? Girls want to grab a drink.
Sure. You gotta have fun.
He could see no wrong in this woman. He loved her, and he would give anything for her.
But Shonda's past is catching up with her. Living in a small town like Jasper, her multiple marriages make good gossip.
You know who I saw the other day? Shonda. You hear what she's been doing?
Well, she got married. Again. My Shonda?
It is very shocking to me that any woman would think, living in a small town, that she could actually have 3 men married to her at the same time and no one would figure it out.
Randy's son is 2 years old, and Shonda has custody.
I gotta go.
Now he has grounds to get his son back.
Bigamy is a felony offense in Alabama, which could easily lead to prison time.
Hello?
You bigamist! You're not fit to be a mother.
What, Randy?
Yes, it's Randy. Listen to me, woman. God is my witness. I'm going to the police.
You wouldn't. I'm the mother of your child.
Watch me! I'm looking for Shonda Johnson. Shonda!
28-year-old Shonda Johnson is in big trouble.
I have a warrant for your arrest. What's going on?
I'm sure this is just a misunderstanding.
In November 1996, she's arrested for bigamy, not to 2 men, but 3.
If Shonda's convicted of bigamy, her world comes to an end. She loses all. She most likely goes to prison.
Awaiting trial, Shonda turns to the man who will do anything for her. Husband number 5, Tim.
If I get convicted, they'll take away my kids.
I won't let that happen.
They can't go live with Randy. He's not fit to be a father.
What do you mean?
She was a master at manipulation.
He used to force himself on me. It is not safe.
She molded him into what she wanted him to be.
How far will you go to protect this family?
Shonda had complete control over Tim.
On November 30th, 1997, Shonda sets her plan in motion.
Shonda and Tim followed Randy until he went into a bar and they slashed his tires, waiting for him to come out.
When he drives off, with the air getting lower in his tire with every mile, they just wait till he's forced to pull over. And they pull in too.
Randy was in the process of changing his tire.
She handed the rifle to Timothy. and Timothy obeyed her command.
Do it! Do it! Get it over with! Go! Go!
It was almost like they hunted him down like an animal. It's mind-boggling how someone could do this to another human being.
If Shonda thinks her problems are over, she couldn't be more wrong.
A common feature I see over and over in premeditated spousal murder is arrogance on the part of the killer.
As Randy's ex-wife, with bigamy charges pending, the police look to Shonda first. She does her best to get them to look elsewhere.
It was Tim's idea.
She thought Timothy was just, gonna scare him. But then he shot him. But I didn't. I had nothing to do with it.
How could she do that?
It's hard to imagine what Tim thought, the love of his life, saying that he committed this crime.
Tim turned on Shonda so fast, it made her head spin.
Timothy Richards pleads guilty to murder and receives a life sentence. He also agrees to testify against Chandra.
She thought she had such a power over man, but she soon found out he was paper thin.
2 years later, Shonda is convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death. In 2014, she gets a reprieve. Life in prison, no chance of parole.
I don't think that she's ever shown any remorse for this crime. She's never taken responsibility for it, and probably to this day continues to blame others for everything that's gone wrong in her life.
Shonda is a woman who craved the attention of men. Behind bars, those days are over.
The bigamy babe is one of a kind.
Shonda loved men. She loved many men. She loved one of them to death.
Forget happily ever after.
A vicious, hateful killing.
Stop it!
This tale of infidelity.
She only knew how to love one person.
Is an affair to remember.
This is a story as old as time.
In an Ottawa suburb in Canada.
Thought I'd find you here.
Oh, hi. Two neighbors have a lot in common.
They play so well together.
Yeah. 31-year-old Gurpreet Ronald and 40-year-old Jakhtar Gill.
Playtime's nearly over, though. I've got to get to work soon.
All right, kids, time to go.
Oh, let them play. I'll walk them home.
The two families were friends. They would be together at family barbecues, neighborhood barbecues, and the children went the same school.
All right, kids. Jakhtar's gonna walk you home, okay? Okay.
And professionally, two of the neighbors see each other every day. Gurpreet, a bus driver, works side by side with Jakhtar's husband, Bhupinda, at the local depot.
Felt like a long night, eh?
Aren't they all?
Spoke to your wife today.
But over time, neighborly friendship becomes something else.
Bhupinder and Gurpreet began an affair shortly after they met.
And they start booking the same shifts together at work so they can be together.
Do you want to know what we were talking about?
No, I don't. very intense relationship. Like, that fire was hot.
Unlike the cool relationship Gurpreet has with her husband.
Why are you still up?
By all accounts, their marriage was a pretty crappy marriage.
Where have you been?
I was working.
Gurpreet used to argue quite a bit.
Because you're not man enough to provide for your family?
It was always the same subject matter. He wasn't making enough money to make her happy.
Your shift finished hours ago.
Had to work extra hours.
She didn't think he was contributing enough to the family. She was obsessed with money. Money, money, money.
Wanna have a shower?
Probably needed.
Gurpreet isn't the only one with an unhappy home. Bhupinda has fallen out of love with his wife. Jagtar is no longer the strong, lively woman he married.
You're a great cook.
I can cook, but I can't eat them.
So Jagtar wasn't really that well. She had Crohn's disease. 3 kids to take care of.
Gurpreet plays the sympathetic friend. It keeps her close to her lover.
Gurpreet despised Jagtar Gill.
She's a devil woman.
In every sense of the word, despised, hated her.
The only person Gurpreet despises more is her own husband.
We don't have any money.
What do you mean we don't have any money?
All we have is debt.
I can't even argue with you anymore.
I deserve better than you.
I'm doing the best I can.
Gurpreet's idea of conflict resolution was grabbing a knife with a 10-inch blade.
Verbal arguments for her would turn into her grabbing a knife. She's willing to use violence as a means to an end in an argument.
In the end, the fighting leads to them separating.
I guess it was one knife fight too many.
Gurpreet wastes no time trying to settle her affairs and get as much as she can out of the marriage. She wants a new life with Bhupinda.
He'll get nothing.
But there's a problem. He doesn't want to lose his children and his assets.
I can't divorce Jagtar.
He didn't want to lose half of his stuff and money through a divorce.
I'll lose money and the kids.
It's just easier and makes more sense to him to stay together.
You lose nothing.
Gurpreet won't let a wife stand in her way.
Gurpreet could put on a nice facade, but there was a side of her you could tell that you didn't want to mess with.
In Ottawa, Canada,
I can't do this anymore.
Gurpreet Ronald
I know.
and Bhupinda Gill
When will we be together?
are having an illicit affair.
I've got to go.
Texts and phone calls back and forth was intense.
Bye.
It reminded me of, maybe 2 teenagers back and forth.
But Bhupinda won't divorce his wife for fear of losing custody of his children and his assets. So Gurpreet has a solution.
She wanted that man, and he refused to divorce his wife, so what did she do? She had to convince him that they needed to kill her.
Hello?
I've got some good news.
Yeah.
Jagtar is having an operation
What?
in a few days.
on January 29th, 2014, there's a perfect opportunity to remove Jagtar from their lives.
Jagtar was at home, recovering from hernia surgery.
And wouldn't you know, it's this special day for her. It's her wedding anniversary.
What a way to spend our wedding anniversary.
Do you need anything?
Sweetie, come on. We won't be long.
I want to stay here with Mom.
I just need your help to find something special. Come on.
Okay.
And that's when they got her. That's when the sharks got her.
Bhupinder asked his daughter if she wanted to go with him to run a series of errands.
Okay.
And Gurpreet is actually standing in the window, looking, and they wave. So Gurpreet knows one thing right now. She knows that Jagtar is home, on heavy painkillers, by herself, on the couch, recuperating from surgery.
Bhupinder left the door unlocked and possibly also left one of the murder weapons for Gurpreet at the front door.
Jagtar couldn't have been any more vulnerable.
She was defenseless.
Gurpreet takes a barbell. Gurpreet beats her 20 times with that barbell, senseless. But then, that's not enough. She takes a knife. And she begins slashing and slashing and cutting and torturing her.
The scene was one of the most gruesome scenes I've ever seen in regards to homicide. The injuries inflicted on Jagtar were outrageous.
She wanted to obliterate this woman.
With Gurpreet's job done, Bhupinder comes home with his young daughter.
Jagtar's daughter. She walks into the house with flowers to give to her mother on her anniversary, and yet what does she find? She finds a bloody mess. These are images this child will never unsee.
Who on earth lets their child walk into that absolute horror?
Bhupinder quickly tries to destroy any evidence.
He goes into the kitchen and he washes those knives. Washes his fingerprints, her fingerprints, the blood off of those knives. And then what does he do with the barbell? He takes it downstairs and he places it in a box of Christmas decorations.
Bhupinder reports the death of his wife, the victim of a violent home invasion. But the police find an interesting clue. Amongst the victim's blood is someone else's.
Not only do they find Jagtar's blood, but they find the killer's blood. And it's all over the place.
Investigators find out about the affair, but the blood at the scene doesn't match Bhupinder's DNA. Could it be Gurpreet's? A police sting will find out.
They send someone to her door and say, you know what? You can enter a contest and win this big prize. But you need to fill out this form. And you need to seal this envelope and you need to send it in. And Gurpreet, by sealing that envelope, what did she do? She sealed her own fate.
We match Gurpreet's DNA with the blood at the crime scene.
Now they need proof that Bhupinda is involved.
So while they're searching the house one day, they come up with the barbell, but they leave it there.
The detectives set up spy cameras.
We have him on video surveillance in the basement, retrieving that, and we have him on surveillance disposing the bar in the field. So he's caught.
The evidence is overwhelming. In 2016, Bhupinda Gill is convicted of first-degree murder.
This is one of the more sickening murders I've encountered in a while.
Gurpreet Ronald is found guilty of the same charge. Both are sentenced to 25 years in prison.
The violence and the rage and the energy to commit this type of murder is enormous.
Gurpreet and Bhupinda could have had a new life together through the divorce court, but instead, they wanted more and took a loving mother's life.
This is a story as old as time. A love triangle where the most innocent person dies.
These deadly women liked a partner in crime. Donna Roberts used her toy boy to do her dirty work. Shonda Johnson preferred murder to being exposed as a bigamist. And Gurpreet Ronald feigned friendship to get close to her victim. They liked to work in tandem. For them, it took two to tangle.